NTIA Policy and Cybersecurity Coordination Act, and the clerk will report that bill.
H.R. 4046 to amend the National Telecommunications.
Madam Clerk, without objection, the first reading of the bill will be dispensed with. The bill is now considered as read. Without objection, the bill is considered as read and open for amendment at any point. Does anyone want to speak on the underlying bill, H.R. 4046? Okay. Does anyone want to amend the bill?
Mr. Chairman, I have an amendment at the desk.
Mr. Duncan, the clerk will report the Duncan amendment.
Amendment in the nature of a substitute to H.R. 4046, offered by Mr. Duncan of South Carolina.
Without objection, the reading of the Duncan amendment will be dispensed with, and the gentleman is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm pleased to see that H.R. 4046, my NTIA Policy and Cybersecurity Coordination Act, on today's markup. This bipartisan amendment would add to the duties of the Office of Policy Development and Cybersecurity an additional function of soliciting and considering feedback from small and rural communications service providers in carrying out its other functions. As Congress recognized in establishing the Communications Supply Chain Risk Information Program, small and rural communications providers need additional help keeping up with the federal policy developments that larger providers can accomplish with an army of lawyers. This amendment will ensure that as Congress and NTIA continue working to secure our networks, small and rural providers will not be left behind. So again, I want to thank the chairman for working with me on this improvement to the bill and for considering this bill in today's markup. And with that, I yield back.
Thank the gentleman. Thank the gentleman. Does anyone else want to speak on this bill? The ranking member is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move to strike the last word. I'd like to thank my colleague, Mr. Duncan, for introducing this bill and building on the Energy and Commerce Committee's bipartisan work on supply chain security legislation. As the recent cyber attacks on our critical infrastructure have made clear, we need to ensure the federal government is doing all it can to support private industry. This partnership is crucial. Small broadband providers previously came to us regarding their challenges assessing information about untrusted vendors. We listened and we acted. NTIA now has a communications supply chain risk partnership program as a result of this committee's work. This information sharing program is just one of the many tools available to help strengthen our partnership with the private sector. The Office of Policy Analysis and Development at NTIA also performs a number of important missions, including managing the C-SCRIP program. With the recent ransomware attacks, the need to cement our partnership and elevate this work is more crucial than ever. The bill before us will codify and rename this office to reflect the important role NTIA performs in conjunction with communication providers. I thank my colleagues across the aisle for working with us on this bill, for recognizing the importance of bipartisan cooperation on cybersecurity matters within our committee's jurisdiction. I yield back.
I thank Mrs. Rogers. So we were on the Duncan amendment in the nature of a substitute. Does anyone else want to speak on that or on the underlying bill? All right, then we're going to move to move the Ains. All those in favor of the amendment in the nature of a substitute to H.R. 4046 will signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
All those opposed will say no. Opinion of the chair, the ayes have it, and the amendment in the nature of a substitute to H.R. 4046 is agreed to. And the question now occurs on favorably reporting H.R. 4046 as amended to the full House. All those in favor of reporting H.R. 4046 as amended to the House will signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed will say no. Opinion of the chair, the ayes have it, and H.R. 4046 is reported, as amended, H.R. 4046 as amended is reported to the House.